Welcome to Ecosystem Chronicles, our next episode. This is the global forum for partnership leaders in the B2B tech sector to discuss topics related to partner data, partner insights, and partner intelligence. And for those of you who are only joining for the very first time, I'm your host, Dina Moskowitz, and I'm CEO of Partner Optimizer. And our goal is constantly to bring partner intelligence to B2B partner organizations through our proprietary data mining tools and partner intelligence platform for ecosystems. So there's so many ways to leverage partner data and insights within a partner program, and it's so critical to incorporate it. And that's why we have this program specifically to discuss partner intelligence with the partnerati around the world who are constantly ahead of the curve in what's going on in B2B technology partner programs. If you haven't had a chance to check out season 1, we've brought on more than 15 of those partnerati, as I like to call them. And last week's topic was with Harold Horgan of the York Group, which was called Understanding Your Break-Even Point with Long-Tail Partners, which I highly recommend you take a look at. It was 1 week ago. I think it was March 17th or whatever the date was, but go check it out. It was really transformative in how you can think about your partner program and scoring your long tail to free up cash flow. So anyway, the response was incredible. I loved the episode. And now I'm really excited for this episode, which is so appropriately titled Orchestrating Your Partner Ecosystem Like a Symphony. And here to talk about this timely transformative strategy is one of what I personally think of like one of the fathers or thought leaders of partner ecosystems. And his name is Allan Adler. And Allan, I love how you say that you're a change agent supporting individuals, managers, and executives to understand and incorporate partnership best practices in service to businesses, partnerships, and our planet. I think that's so awesome how you extend it, because when you're talking about ecosystems in general, it does touch everyone at all of those things. So before Allan says hello, I just want to toot his horn a little bit more. He's the managing partner at Digital Bridge Partners, and he's the creator of the Go-To-Eco framework that's guiding all sorts of as-a-service CEOs and C-suites to unlock the potential and understand how to transform their business by having an ecosystem strategy. And he's helped to basically pave the way to establish what those ecosystem orchestration best practices are. It's a big word, but that's why we have him here today. He's actually going to explain to us what that all means, how to break it down into sound bites and really be able to absorb and then transform your own organizations with this. So, Allan, I'm so excited to have you here. I've known you for several years, especially through Partnership Leaders, and we've met in person several times, including at Catalyst. And I just, you've been such an incredible contributor to the partner ecosystem world. And so thank you for being here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Really happy to be with you, Dina.
Absolutely. And so this topic, orchestrating your ecosystem like a symphony, let's, talk a little bit about that and how we came up with that specific metaphor.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, that, when anybody who runs partnerships, or if you call your partner program an ecosystem program, you realize that there are so many moving parts and so many different partners with different needs and interests and our own organizational interests. And at the end of the day, if you can imagine that there's an orchestra composed of many, many different players, and you have a score and you are the orchestrator, and you can stand in front of that orchestra and facilitate making music together, then it creates a good metaphor for us to think about, like, how do we take that and apply it to different partner types, different organizations in your company, and how they relate to those partner types, and how to bring all that together in an orchestrated whole rather than a whole bunch of parts. So that's kind of the big picture.
Yeah, and I like to think of that like, so a symphony is one that's fully fine-tuned and everyone's working together and it's in harmony. And I always compare it to how so many companies start out like, like a grade school marching band, where everything is just so misaligned and not out of tune, and people don't really know what to do. And it's a process to get to becoming a symphony,
Absolutely. And I would even say that even if you are playing the trombone or the viola in someone else's orchestra, you still have to ask the question at what point in time you can actually move to the orchestrator role with the partners that play with you. So it's never the case where we have just our ecosystem and we're orchestrating. We're always a part of another ecosystem, and then we have an ecosystem. And so it's really multi-layered, but at some point in time, you want to be moving towards some kind of orchestration role so that those partners who depend upon you can play with you and we can actually deliver a joint value proposition to the customer that's meaningful. Because that's really what it's all about, right? At the end of the day, the ecosystem value is when a number of companies can come together in an interdependent way to deliver more value than they would separately. And that you could almost think of that that's being in tune, as
Right.
opposed to everybody running around in the high school marching band playing out of tune, where one person's going one direction, another person another direction, and at the end of the day, who loses? Our joint customer. So really making it work for the joint customer is the arbitration of real true value. That's the arbiter. Did the joint customer get more value because we orchestrated? If they did, we're going to be delivering super high value to our partners, to our customers, and to our leadership. And that's how you get the win-win-win.
Got it. Well, I'll let you take it from here with some of the explanations of that and how to actually achieve that, because that's what's so
Yeah.
special about what you've invested your time and research and consulting over the last few years to prove it, to actually advise companies on it and prove it out.
Right on. Yeah, so we pretty much teed this up. So the high school marching band is an ad hoc ecosystem, and the symphony playing together is an orchestrated ecosystem. And the key difference between these two is the word in the box on the right. The difference between interdependent and independent. Independent actors don't really produce network effects, which means that at the end of the day, what you want to be able to do, especially if you're pursuing a platform business model, is to create network effects where more customers means more partners and more partners means more customers. It's a simple explanation of the network effect. And the business model associated with that allows you to move from this independent, out of tune thing to this interdependent, in tune thing that ultimately drives those results. So if you move to the next slide, one way to think about these two dimensions is to think about ecosystem value creation on the left and business model value creation on the right. Now, in any good 2x2 matrix, you're always going to want to be in the upper right-hand corner, right? Where we're creating new markets that are leveraging orchestrated partner ecosystem. That's really the name of the game. And really what that means is that anybody that has a SaaS company can relate to having a product on the lower part of the axis. The real opportunity is turning that product into a platform where people start to innovate on the platform. Because everybody, if you're playing the viola or the trombone in the orchestra, you're probably playing on somebody else's platform. At some point in time in the history of every SaaS company, you have a moment where you say, we can now platform our solution, which basically means customers and partners can now build on our platform. But the ultimate goal here is to move from competing on features in the lower left-hand corner to ultimately creating that interdependent network of orchestrated partners in the upper right-hand corner. And you can get pretty good on the left by aligning your partners and pretty good on the lower right by creating innovation. But when you put them both together, if you move to the next slide, you get really this sweet spot where you really align platform business models on the bottom with orchestrated ecosystems on the left. And that's really the big opportunity that every one of us has the opportunity to begin to look at. How do you relate to that, Dina, when you see these this kind of transformation?
Well, I mean, we as a SaaS and data mining platform ourselves have and rely upon lots of our partners to go to market together and also to service our end customers together. So, I see this all the time. And, I think it's, as a CEO, I'm always aware of how important our partners are towards creating that value for our end customers. Sometimes it's harder to get everyone orchestrated in order to get there. And the ultimate is getting a case study and getting and hearing those success metrics from that end customer that you're providing that value and the excitement they have. And that's not an easy thing to do. But I think, as you're saying, as we learn in the next slides here, the orchestration of the internal and external and making sure everyone is aligned is critical to that success and reduces the friction to get there.
Absolutely. Well, if we move to the next slide, let's talk about what the prize is. What happens when you get this right? So at the end of the day, when you think of, if you Google search platform ecosystems, you'll see that these words are oftentimes interchangeable. As the platform starts to grow and become more and more important, you start seeing the most valuable companies, the largest percentage of economic activity, and almost all the unicorns that are out there, all the companies that are really crushing it, anything from an Amazon and a Facebook and a Google and a Microsoft, and to the unicorns who are going to be next generation's version of that. They perform, as EY tells us, they perform better, both with respect to lower cost and with respect to higher revenue growth. And looking at it somewhat selfishly from the standpoint of the ecosystem organization itself, Partnership Leaders did a report last year that looked at the state of the platforms. And what you can see on the right side is that as the companies become more and more mature, the top 10 platform companies in the world typically have a higher percentage of all their employees in partnership roles, whether they be partnerships itself, which is the orange, the red, which is ecosystem roles, or the blue, which is the ecosystem roles, the channel roles, which is the red, or the alliances roles, which is the gray. You see, as platform maturity increases, the percentage of employees in partner roles increases. So it's another way of showing that as you become more and more of a platform orchestrator or an ecosystem orchestrator, the roles of the partners become more important, and accordingly, the roles of the partner people inside your organization, whether it be in channel, ecosystems, partnerships, or alliances, grows as well. So there's a lot of potential return on investment if we get this orchestration thing right. And the question is going to be like, what are you doing right now, if you're a partnership leader, to facilitate that ecosystem orchestration? What I want to do really quickly is move from this big picture of what it looks like to orchestrate at a strategic level to an actual use case. Because I think one of the things people are asking is like, okay, yeah, this is great, but I'm really not yet a channel chief or a ecosystem chief. Is there something I can do right now to start moving down this orchestration path? And part of the thing that we're most excited about at Digital Bridge, because we're doing this with clients, is unifying the tech partners on the left of this chart with our SIs or our channel on the right side. And this is a perfect use case for an ecosystem orchestration program that's very specific to aligning our tech partners together with our SIs and VARs. Let me just explain this really quickly, because I think it's pretty obvious, but it warrants a quick discussion. So many of you have what I would call a tech partner program. That's where you've done the hard work to figure out which tech partners are best aligned with your product, and you've probably built integrations in some form of go-to-market strategy associated with those tech partners. And that essentially entails, using things like Reveal or Crossbeam to show you what the overlaps look like, and then attempting to get your customer success teams and your AEs to engage in some form of referrals or some kind of introductions, which then result in ideally some kind of return on investment on that tech partner program. Now, that's a good idea, but it's sometimes hard to orchestrate AEs and customer success teams. And that's one of the reasons why we saw a lot of layoffs in the last couple of years, because it's really hard to monetize tech partnerships. In other words, ecosystem orchestration with one vendor type is difficult. But what happens when, or one partner type is difficult? What happens when you look to the other side of your channel, other side of your partner program, and you see VARs and SIs, classically services partners, who are already, in many cases, working with some of those tech partners on the left, and you look at the overlapping opportunities between where your tech partners and you play and where your VARs and SIs play. And what you find out, which is pretty exciting, is if you orchestrate the overlap between the tech partners and the services partners, you start to see the potential to create a joint partner program, a joint partner co-selling program, where the VARs and SIs take the vendors and you to market coordinated. And what the opportunity here to do in this ecosystem orchestration is to align the program with the tech partners, with the program with the services partners. And that's what we call this joint partner program. So if you do the next slide, how do you do this? Is basically there's three things you've got to do, right? The first thing you've got to do is you've got to integrate the partner programs, right? If these programs are siloed and exist in isolation, it becomes hard to get that integration. The second thing you need to do is you need to architect how that platform is going to work while effectively leveraging your portal. So this is where your platform technologies, for example, like Reveal or Crossbeam, can be integrated with your PRM and CRM through what would be traditionally called portal technology. And then finally, you want to orchestrate that so that you communicate to the services partners what it is the tech partners are doing, and you communicate to the tech partners what it is that the services partners doing. And that's how you achieve, in this case, a orchestrated ecosystem that's very specific to the use case. And one of the things that's very exciting about this is, and also imperative, is that you bring ecosystem intelligence to the table. And I think this is one of those cases, Dina, and you and I have talked about it, where if you want to pull something like this off, you've got to know an awful lot about those bottom two circles, the tech partners and the channel and services partners. And it's exciting to see tools like a partner optimizer standing up as a mechanism to drive that ecosystem intelligence. And we'll just give you an opportunity maybe to share a little bit about that in this particular use case. What you think
Yeah.
about that, Dina?
Well, like you were saying about account mapping, that's only valuable if you're account mapping with the right partners who have the right customers, who are already out there, knowing how to sell your technology into those right customers and have the right buyers and the right expertise to do it. So account mapping, and we're very familiar with partner tap, is really powerful, whether it's any one of those, but it's only as powerful as the partners are aligned with your product's go-to-market strategy. Do they have the right ideal customer, and do they have the right expertise to be able to do that? So yeah, without foundational partner intelligence to understand whether those partners are the right ones to invest in, that's so critical. It's a foundational layer to orchestrating the ecosystem. Yeah.
One good example of that in the case of the use case I just mentioned is that you have to find the exact right services partners who fit with the particular tech partners. So the ability to say, okay, let's say I have 6 tech partners in my tech partner stack, and I want to determine which of those 6 tech partners have associated with them a services partner who already knows about those tech partners. So when I put them together, I don't have to do a lot of enablement on, let me teach you about 6 tech partners, which could take a long time. But if you find out that you want to co-market with 6 tech partners, and there's a group of channel partners who overlap with 5 of them, with a lot of overlap, you've got an automatic match. So you don't have to spend a lot of time enabling, and you can simply present the value proposition and be in market in a matter of once you just get your slides together, rather than waiting forever to do enablement. Yeah. So I'm
Exactly.
excited to hear more about Partner Optimizer from the standpoint of, like, what does it mean to develop that ecosystem intelligence? And I know you're gonna take the audience through a little orientation around that.
Yeah, next slide, Carrie, please. And that is right. If you can use a partner intelligence platform like what Partner Optimizer provides, you can very quickly surface which partners are already working with either those vendors you're already partnered with, and or some may be working with a competitor to one of those vendors, which does show that they have the competence to be able to take on maybe one more piece of the puzzle, or maybe extend it to a broader audience if they're working with the same types of vendors and bringing those to market with their customers. So, what we like to say is, partner data is foundational to optimal ecosystem orchestration, and that's a mouthful. But really, if you don't have good partner data, your entire partner program is ultimately getting infected, because it's filled with the wrong stuff or not enough line of sight. And so when you don't have good data in there, your team cannot function optimally. Your lists are going to be off. The campaigns that you do may not be as optimally refined as they could be, and your segmentation may not be as good. Your conversations won't be as strong and as targeted, and the velocity of everything is not as fast. And we see that all day long. And we've so many of the customers we work with today have tried to improve their CRMs and PRMs and profiles about partners they have to understand these things, and have wasted a lot of time and energy in the minutia, in the weeds, as opposed to being able to just access it all and then start making good decisions based upon it. And so, when we've talked before, Allan, you say what's imperative to a successful ecosystem is to, have your whole team transform and lead with ecosystem and prepare and align and commit to it, and then you'll grow. When you have this foundational platform to always research and access the latest partner intelligence about each specific partner, but also how they relate to each other, it's such an incredible outcome. Next slide. So, what we hear a lot about other partner platforms or other data and prospecting platforms out there, and I pulled it in just because, a lot of people talk about that 20-80, where 20% of the partners are driving 80% of the revenue. But what about the rest that you onboard and recruit or are trying to engage and activate? And the problem is that these other platforms for direct prospecting are good for direct prospecting, but they weren't developed to understand the DNA of a partner company. And so we're not looking at when is the birthday of the person that I'm selling to. We're looking at, does this partner company have the competencies, the expertise, the relationships, the know-how, the certifications and credentials, and the size to be able to go to market with your products and solutions? And that's the kind of data that Partner Optimizer is incorporating in to facilitate that. Next slide. And so, high level, what do we do? So we have a platform that we call Pipe. It's the Partner Intelligence Platform for Ecosystems. And between using Pipe as well as our tech-enabled services that build all sorts of insights and tables alongside of it, our customers are truly experiencing so much faster partner discovery, both within their ecosystem and net new, because we profile millions of partners right now and are always bringing back fresh data and business attributes about them. They're experiencing better conversion rates because they're not wasting time on the wrong ones. And so they're able to activate, recruit, and talk to those right partners from the beginning with less friction. And as a result of that, our customers are seeing triple-digit partner-sourced ARR, annual recurring revenue. And they're seeing that the average partner is doing more deals per partner, and the average partner is doing bigger size deals per partner. And so it's very exciting when you put that all together. So, if you have optimal ecosystem orchestration that's leveraging optimal data and partner intelligence, it's fully aligned to optimize your partner program. Next slide. And so, just high level, you can access within Partner Optimizer hundreds of thousands to millions of partner profiles. You don't need all of that. You want to know what is related to your total addressable market, and you can hone in on that and then see which ones are actually the best. Again, both within your existing ecosystem that you've already recruited and built, but then also external to it. And when I say external, you can investigate the partners of your Tech Alliance partners, and you can see which of those Tech Alliance partners have the additional competency and expertise in your alliance partner that can take your product to market as well. And that is a great company that you would want to account map with. So when you have all this data and you can use filters that allow you to hone in, that's what surfaces those right partners at the right time. Next slide. So this is just an example of a profile, and Allan, I think we were talking about this. Partner Optimizer allows you to be curious, and I love that you came up with that expression because I've been using it all the time. And so, within just one company profile, you can be curious enough to now say, well, are they in the AWS ecosystem? Are they in other hyperscaler ecosystems? What are the top things that they are aligning themselves with from business attribute standpoint? And how does that, firstly, represent who they are as a business, and do I want to do business with them? But also, how does that match my ideal profile, and what's missing from it? And so as a result of a partner optimizer profile, just one company, you can be curious within that own company, but then you can aggregate that data and you can start to see trends, and you can see a data-driven ideal profile, and you can actually start to sort and segment so that your ecosystem can be better sorted and segmented. And next slide. And so that brings us to, yeah, if anyone would like to see a demo on that, we'd love you to see it. And if anyone would like to speak with Allan to learn more about how he helps your company to orchestrate a better ecosystem, we'd love to talk with you all. So I think that brings us to the end, and we actually did it in time. And I'm amazed that we got all of that in within such a short period of time.
Absolutely. Been great to be with you, Dina.
Absolutely. And so any final thoughts on ecosystem orchestration?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that having worked with you guys before, I think making better decisions and making better decisions quickly with accuracy is a huge value. And when it comes to the stuff we were talking about with respect to blending the tech partner program, say, together with a channel partner program, the ability to go back and forth between, what I need to know about the tech partners and which channels they have and which channel partners are working with tech partners, the ability to do that on the fly, real time, is really remarkable. So if you haven't seen Partner Optimizer at work, I'd strongly encourage you to get a demo to see just the kind of decisions that you can make with accurate data, less guessing, less trial and error, getting to market faster, and ultimately scaling once you know what works. And all that requires ecosystem intelligence. So exciting to be working with you on that, Dina.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think it's going to get more fun as we go forward. So thank you. Yeah, so next episode coming up in a few weeks will be with Gabriella Schuster. She is, everybody already knows who Gabriella is, but she's the former head of Microsoft's One Commercial Partner ecosystem, and even more than that. And she's got some great concepts and topics to talk about a lot, and I think the topic we selected is choreographing your partner. So this one was all about orchestrating your ecosystem, and now we're going to talk about choreographing your partners. And I just love how Gabriella has mapped things out, and I'm excited to bring that to everyone in June. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, Allan, thank you so much for coming on. This was a great conversation, and everyone, thanks for being here, and please share this with your team, because that will help to orchestrate your ecosystem better.
Thanks so much.
All right.